Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know when our videos come out. Today we are talking about Walls of York. This is designed by Emiliano Venturini. The publisher is CMON and Cranio Creations.
In this game, you are literally building the walls around York. All right, so you are trying to build this city, and it's going to give you some kind of parameters. How many wells, how many churches, how many markets you're going to need in this city. Try to get those all in your cities and within the walls, while at the same time keeping out the Vikings. Let me show you how to play. All right, to set up the Walls of York, the first thing we need to do is get our boards ready. There are 4 borders, and there's kind of flowers along all the corners, so you set them up so that there's all the same for everyone. You have the yellow flowers, red, blue, and then purple over here. Then we've got 4 tiles that we're going to put in the middle. What we're going to do is we're going to shuffle them up randomly and have one person kind of call it out to us what they want to do. All right, so if we have the purple gemmed board with the white arrow facing up, we'll put that in the top left. And let's say we have, this one, we have below it, we'll have the white gem with the black arrow facing down over here in this corner, or whatever this looks like. We're just going to randomize it, and then we're all going to match that person, so that way we all have the exact same board that we're working with. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to roll our dice. We've got some unique dice here. One of them has a 0, 1, or 2. One of them has a 2, 3, and a 4. One of them has a 3, 4, and a 5. We're going to randomly roll them, put them in our dice tower here. And this is kind of a weird dice tower. It's got 3 spots on it. One for churches, one for wells, and one for markets. We're going to randomly put that one on each of them, and it's going to give us kind of our parameters of what we need to put in our city. And you can kind of see there. So we're going to need 2 churches, we're going to need 5 wells, and 2 markets in order to make our city work. Now, to actually build the city, what we're going to do is we're going to roll this big red dice. It's going to tell us what kind of shape we can use. So in this case, we kind of got a zigzag. We're going to take these castle pieces, and we're going to kind of put a zigzaggy shape out there. So we are trying to include all the things that we need based off of that. But also, we're trying to exclude Vikings. These little kind of brown guys with the purple helmets, those are the Vikings. As you can see, I kind of try to block one out here so it's not part of our city. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep on rolling that and do whatever it says. This time we've got kind of an L shape, and you can rotate these however you want, or you can use them exactly how they say. And we're going to keep on kind of building. When one person rolls, we're all going to do exactly whatever it says. And you don't have to build off of one another. I could have put this L somewhere over here. It doesn't really matter, as long as it all connects up in the end. So we're going to keep on rolling, we're going to keep on building until eventually one player has finished their entire board. They've got a city with walls that have these exact parameters built up. At that point, we're going to keep on building until everyone has finished. But the players who are finished, when the dice gets rolled, instead of taking the pieces on the board, what they're going to do is they're going to take the circles there, those represent coins. They're going to be able to take coins from the bank, which are ultimately victory points. So in this case, it'd be 2 victory points. Everybody else would build. Keep on going. This time, everybody would build that shape, while whoever's finished is going to get that many victory points. Once all players have finished their cities, what we're going to do is we're going to look, make sure they have all the requirements they need based off of the dice tower over there, and then we're going to count out the coins on their board. Any coins that are encircled inside their city, they're going to get those victory points. However, any Vikings that you have, you are going to get these little Viking tokens, which are bad news. You do not want these. All right, so at the end of the round, whoever has the most of these Vikings, what they're going to do is they're going to take one of them, they're going to turn it over, and it's going to be a -5 victory point chip at the end of the game. So you don't want that. But then you get rid of the rest of them. Anybody who did not take one of those actually hangs on to their Vikings to the end of the next round. All right, so we're going to play a second round the exact same way. We're going to randomize our dice again. We're going to keep on rolling our dice and build a whole new city. At the end, once again, whoever has the most amount of Vikings is going to get another one of these -5 chips. And whoever has the least amount of Vikings is going to get this little reward here, which is a bonus 3 victory points. So that's going to a huge swing between losing 5 and gaining 3. At that point, after all those points have been awarded, you're going to count up your victory points, your coins. Whoever has the most coins wins the game.
So I'm not talking about building the cube tower. I'm talking about just the setup of your own individual player thing. But that was actually pretty easy. I like how the edged borders have these little flowers on the edge so you know exactly what connects to which, because I'm very familiar with myself and I know that I would be struggling with that a lot. So I appreciate that they did that. And then also, even with the 4 different squares, the way that they do that by having them be double-sided and have one side have black and the other side have white and the just different colored gems, it was really easy to mimic the boards while you were setting up to have all the boards be the same because of those references.
I like liked how as the person, if you were, fudge. I enjoyed how in this game there was kind of a small incentive to finish first, right? Everyone's gonna has the same exact tools they're working with to finish their city, but if you finish first, you might not have taken some shortcuts, right, and maybe not made a perfect city. However, you are gonna get some bonus income every round. When everyone's rolling the dice and building their stuff, you're gonna get some income in terms of money. But if you hold on to the end and you're being very, very diligent about boxing things off just right, you're gonna have a perfect city. It's gonna give you a ton of points. So I like how it's balanced in that way, trying to get you the best of both worlds, depending on which way you want to go.
Yeah, and the gameplay was pretty easy. This is definitely a game you could play with, your younger gamers in your life, because the gameplay was really easy. There wasn't a lot of choices. There wasn't a lot of things that you needed to focus on getting what you needed, whatever it was rolled to be in your city. But besides that, it was pretty straightforward gameplay.
A lot of times you hear people complain about the quality of components and how they are lackluster or whatever, how they are under, there's not, very thin cards or not, you could have used better gems or 3D structures or whatever. In this case, you've got a huge box here, right? This is a big, what I'd call a normal size Ticket to Ride style box. And instead, what I'm wondering is they could have, made this way smaller of a box.
Definitely.
You had this huge, kind of dice tower-ish kind of a thing going on.
Didn't need it.
You didn't even need it. You could have just had a card laying on the table, and it probably would have been easier to read for everyone also, instead of having one wall of it blocked off so no one else can see it. And it was a cool little device, but it's ultimately unneeded. And same thing with the walls. I mean, there were these really cool little plastic walls, but probably a little bit overkill. They could have made this a much more accessible game, cheap, price-wise and size-wise, by paring things down.
Yeah. But what did I really think about this game? I paused there because I don't like to just say bad things, but this was so boring for me. Bless you. This was so boring. I was bored the entire time we played it. I was like, couldn't wait for it to be done. This wasn't one of those that you play it and then you put it aside and you come back to it because maybe you were in a bad mood or something. No, it was just boring. Boring.
All right, so you say you were bored.
Ryan is about to tell you a very true story.
The very first time we played this, I was so excited about it. I had a couple days prior, I had unboxed it, I had built the little structures and other stuff. Bethany had gone online, learned the rules. We were all set to go.
Did you hear that? I learned the rules.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we're playing it. We're a third of the way through the first round. I literally doze off.
You did.
I start snoring. I fall asleep.
He does.
In the middle of playing this game. It was so monotonous.
I don't think, side note, I don't think Ryan has ever done that, save when we're playing way later.
Super late in the night.
Yeah, but this was just
that doesn't count.
This is afternoon after church.
Right.
It wasn't really late. Ryan has never done that in a game, except for when it's past 10 or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were literally just rolling a dice and placing out some little things in that shape. That's all you're doing, and you're just kind of doing it over and over and over.
You're gonna put yourself to sleep now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was counting sheep. This is going to be called the Sheep of York or something. I don't know. It was probably been more interesting with that theme. But yeah, this was a snooze fest for me, literally. Yeah,
that actually happened. True story down below. Speaking of true stories, I want to know, tell us in the comments below, what's the weirdest gaming you have for gameplay?
Yeah.
Somebody falling asleep during the game.
Also, I will say there was a couple of variants that they threw in this game that kind of did spice some things up. So let's say you've purchased this game, it's been sitting on your shelf, or maybe you're thinking about purchasing it, and you're hearing this and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a complete wash. Well, yeah, I would say I would discourage you from playing it. But if you are for whatever reason dead set on playing it, there are a couple of variants. I would say throw them in right out of the gate.
Immediately.
It does give you a couple of more options to work with as you're playing it, and it does give it a little bit more intrigue as you're going along.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching that. I don't like just bashing on games, but I'm sorry. I just did not enjoy this one. But make sure to subscribe so you can see the games that I do enjoy. And don't forget, you can follow us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.